What happens in Philadelphia matters. It's the biggest city in one of the election's most crucial states, one that's still counting votes. And on election day, community activists felt the pressure. They took to the streets, or in some cases, they trotted to the streets to get people to head to the polls.
I'm out here to help try to get people to vote. Our lives are in your vote. Power to the people. Power to the people.
What's up, brother?
How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. Who we got here?
This is Patches.
What's up, Patches? Did you ride to the polls on this horse?
Well, no.
That would have been impressive. How long has this organization been in existence?
Over 50 years.
And for those 50 years, you've seen a lot happen in the city of Philadelphia.
Yes.
So are you optimistic, considering there has not been a lot of change, especially with regard to Walter Wallace Jr. being shot?
I'm always optimistic. I'm just hoping and praying. It can change. Like, if you don't listen to me, listen to your mom, your dad, your pastor, listen to somebody. We have to change this. This is bad.
Voting day came at a tough time for Philly residents. The city's been on edge since the police shot and killed 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr. last week. No officers have been charged. Wallace's death brought protests to the West Philadelphia neighborhood where Reverend David Brown's church is. Oh, my biscuit.
No, we ain't touching.
Okay, give me this. With so much at stake in this election, the Reverend checked in on the polling sites in his community.
Some people had mail-in ballots.
Okay, they didn't
bring them.
Yep.
So they had to go get them.
Yeah, that's about right. Show it from 10,000 feet, because you ain't coming down here. No, it says vote today.
Vote today. 5 letters, and it begins with T.
Oh, my goodness.
What has been the energy like here in West Philadelphia?
Man, well, I would say that initially the lead up until, the violence that we had recently has been one of optimism, I think. I think a lot of folks in this neighborhood in particular feel like they've been left behind. This is an opportunity for us, the people, to kind of get and make their voice heard by voting.
So Walter Wallace Jr.
Yes, sir.
Was killed by the police.
Yes, sir.
Recently.
Yes, sir.
Just a few blocks.
Just a few blocks
right?
from here, 8 blocks, yep.
Right. So with this election happening, with that as its backdrop in West Philadelphia, does the community even, connect the two?
I think the connection between that killing and Election Day is something that we kind of recognized a long time ago. There's going to be racism, there's going to be police brutality, something that's not new. If you don't vote, then you don't have a voice in that level of reform. So we encourage folks to mail in a vote, be here on Election Day. All those things matter, because otherwise it's going to continue. And it's been continuing for far too long.
Police brutality has been a problem in Philly for a long time, but not everyone shares the Reverend's feeling that voting and a change of government is the solution.
When you vote, you give them your power, because you're choosing one of them, right? You don't have to give them your power. Build community within your families and within your neighborhood. That's where the power is. A lot of people are focused on this election because of the racism that comes from Donald Trump. But Biden is racist too. He's the one where he said, we can put people in jail for life for jaywalking. All of that crime bill and all this stuff he's saying he regrets, how much of that is he trying to change?
Mike Africa Jr. grew up in MOVE, an organization born in Philly on the foundations of Black power, ecological principles, and animal rights. From the start, they were a target of the Philly PD. His parents and 7 other members were arrested in 1978 for allegedly killing a cop in a shootout, though MOVE members say the single bullet that hit the cop was shot by another officer.
In 1978, when the mayor sent them hundreds of cops to our house, they arrested my mother, my father, and 7 of my brothers and sisters and put them in prison, where they stayed for a minimum of 40 years. And then when we were fighting to get those people out of prison, the government came again and they dropped a bomb on our house on May 13th, 1985, and killed 11 of our family members. No police officer has ever been charged for any wrongdoing. They've never spent any jail time.
I read a bit of your story, and it's heavy. You were born in prison.
That's what they tell me. A lot of people can't survive what I survived. What I survived would kill a lot of people.
What was it like after 40-something years when they were released?
It was like a dream come true. Well, imagine getting your mother, who was naturally supposed to be with you, and you never had that for 40 years. And now you got it. No restrictions. I tell this story like, I missed so much time with them. I built this hope chest, right? So I'm sitting on the hope chest, and I'm just sitting outside of my mom's door. And she comes out of her bedroom, and I noticed that she was barefoot. And when she came out, I looked at her feet, and I realized that I didn't recognize her. I'd never seen her before.
Africa's mom got out in 2018. His activism has continued. Right now, he's building a space for podcasting, gatherings, and community work. You building this space for you, right? You need permits for that, right? Permits come from the city council, elected officials. And then you see that the policies that they're putting in place have a direct effect on you trying to build your community. Is it not prudent of you to try to affect who goes into office to create those policies?
To quote John Africa, MOVE ain't talking about changing governments, replacing one corrupt dictator enslaver for another. MOVE is talking about doing away with all forms of external government and replacing it with the government of self.
Have you ever voted?
Nope.
Never voted?
Never. You got somebody that'll challenge qualified immunity with these police. They can't just kill people at will and then get promotions for it. I'll vote for that person.
While people who did vote were waiting for results on election night, hundreds of cops were posted in the streets waiting for something else. Unrest, perhaps. But they didn't get it. In the meantime, Philly residents are getting back to regular life.
How you doing?
How are you?
Hey, Show. What's wrong?
The election, maybe?
Well, yeah, hey, still coming. I'm still getting text messages on returns and all, so we just gotta wait and see.
This presidential race is razor thin, contradicting all of the polls that came out prior. You know, what does that say about this nation?
I think that it means to me that we have moved, I think, forward since the last election, 2016. I think that also it's still fragile. And in order to keep that peace or this democracy, this is part of the process.
It seems like this chasm is something that is much more pronounced with these razor thin margins that we're seeing, right? With that, there are people who are saying that your plight and struggle as a black person doesn't matter. In the event that the election results don't turn out in the way that this community wanted them to, how can you bridge that gap? And if you're a black man in America, if you're a trans person in America, how can you begin to trust, and I'll put it frankly, white folks who voted for Trump because that vote to them seems like you saying, you don't matter.
I would argue the opposite, that this shows that my life does matter as a black man, as someone who identifies with a certain gender identity, because I got in the game. Because before, I recognized that I can move some things forward because of my voice, because of my activism, because of what I do. And I would say that it doesn't make it easier going forward, that if one side says, like, I've won, and so far, I have to decide whether I matter or not.
I don't want to interrupt your progress, you know what I'm saying? You don't mind if I chat with you while you do this?
Yes, sure.
So, what are you doing here?
Right now, we're spraying on both that John, spray chalking.
Both that John, that's
Philly. Because John is basically like a thing. Like, it can be a person, a place. And like what we say is like, vote your John, like what you care about.
So, how old are you?
I'm 17.
You're 17 years old. So you can't even vote yet?
Nope. I'm going to turn 18 November 12th.
It's a crucial state, and particularly in Philadelphia, with police brutality. As a 17-year-old, from where do you find this sense of optimism?
I know, it's tough. But I went to the early voting site, and I saw all these people. Literally, like, you see this block? It was 3 blocks long. That's how long. And most of the people were black. If we just throw our hands up and say it's never going to change, like, they'll change, but they won't change the way we want them. No, things will change for the worse.
Right. So how many of these you guys going to do tonight?
I don't know. possible.
You guys are committed.
Yeah. This one is gonna be kind of colorful. Ooh. Well, you can definitely see the John.